here's a situation where you have a lot of choices. We're going to the front pin for a couple of choices, and then we're going all the way to the back pin to show you a couple choices for that one. Now with the front pin, we can play our lob shot, which is we want to open the face up a little bit of the club, then always set your hands after you open the face. Feel the pacing motion, and it's important to find the bottom of that arc right underneath the logo. Lean to the left, feel the arms pacing, feel the distance. We're going to just brush that grass right under the ball and lob it up, right up to the hole. Well, I like that one. Now another option would be to play a little run shot up there, a pitch and run it up to the hole. So we want to take our 7-iron, we're working one lever, playing the ball back, hands well ahead, pulling the train, remember? Feel the distance now. I'm going to get it rolling all the way up there, keeping my hands ahead, weight is to the left. Just like that. Let it roll right up there for a putt. Now if we want to go back to the back of the green, we can play that in two different ways. We can play the lob shot with the sand wedge and throw it all the way back. And with this one, we've really got to feel that pacing motion, and we want to just let the hands break where they'll naturally break. We don't want to force it. And this one, we're going to get a little bit of our legs into it on the forward swing, allowing the club to swing it back to the hole. Feel it, see it, and swing it all the way back. Let it roll right on up to the hole. Now, we've got another option there. We don't have to try to throw it all the way back. We can play a pitch and run. We can take a wedge. I'm going to take the wedge, and for this shot, I'm going to play the ball back. I'm going to open up, my shoulders stay nice and square. This is the shot now. See, I don't want to accelerate. I'm through and hold, pace it, ball's back, weights forward, shoulders are square, keeping the hands ahead of the shot. This one will hit on the front part of the green and run all the way back to the hole. Now watch this. Boy, that's dynamite. When you're playing slopes, whether they're short shots like this or long shots, let me give you an easy way to understand how to play them. The first thing is you always want to resist gravity with your lower body. Just divide your body in two. The lower body resists the way that gravity pulls you. And in this situation, it's pulling me down, so I need to lean in and establish my foundation for the circle to swing. We want to have the circle come into the ball consistently every time. Now with this shot, if I set up with my normal stance and swing the club in a circle, it's going to come up way here. That's where it's going to bottom out. So I need to tilt my circle back so that it comes into the back of the ball. So you want to always adjust your shoulders to the angle of the ground, your shoulder angle, so the club can come to the back of the ball as if it were a flat shot. Now, also with an uphill lie, if I were to use a sand wedge, which I would normally use for this shot, and set into the bank, it's shooting the ball way up high, and I'm not going to have much control. I probably can't even get it to the green. So with uphill lies, you want to use a club or two less loft, and then that will turn it into the club that you want to play. So I'm using a 9-iron now. Setting my lower body to resist gravity, playing the ball in the same position, setting my shoulders in the circle with the 9-iron. Now I don't have to go into the bank. I can swing up the slope with a nice easy swing, bracing, setting, and a nice easy swing right up on the green with the stop of a sand wedge. And now let me show you how we play the other slopes. Here's one of the most awkward shots in golf, the severe down slope. Now let's go back to our principles again. We've got to resist gravity. Where's it pulling me? This way. So I've got to lean this way. But now if my shoulders are level with a normal shot and I make my circle, the club will come in back up here. So I've got to tilt my shoulder this way, see, So the circle will come to the back of the ball. Now it looks awkward, doesn't it? But it'll work. Now also on this shot, with the ball back and on the downslope, it'll decrease the loft of the club, so you need to use a little bit more loft than normal to compensate for that. So let's set into this shot. First of all, I'm going to feel which way gravity's pulling me. It's pulling me this way. So I want to support my base right here. I want to set into the slope. Then I want to feel the circle, tilt my lower shoulder down. This one goes down, and then that allows that club to swing down the slope to send it to the hole. I've got to play the ball back a little bit on this one also. Resist gravity, set my foundation, set my circle so I can swing down the slope. And when you make this shot, you want to feel like you're kind of chasing the ball down the hill with the club head. Here we go. Resist gravity, ball's back a little bit, shoulders right, and swing. And that one is going right in the hole. How many times do you get on a downslope like this and you just don't know how to play the shot? Well, the tendency is to hit the bank with the heel of the club, and it throws the club face way off. Now you can see when I bend over to this ball that the face is pointing out way to the right. So with this shot, we need to adjust and play more to the left so that the face will be square to the target. Also, when you're playing this shot with the ball well below your feet, we're going to need to adjust our shoulders out over the ball more so that the face can come in square to the ball and the bottom of the club can be square on the ground. We don't catch that heel in the bank. Let's go through our principles now. Where's gravity taking me? To my toes. So on this shot, I need to back into it. Get on my heels. But when I do that, it pulls the heel into the bank. So I need to bring my shoulders up forward, feel the circle, rehearse. See that? That's the shot I want to have. So I want to aim to the left, back into the slope, establish my foundation first. Then I want to get in a position where the club can swing into the ball, level, the bottom of the club level to the ground, so I've got to get over it more. Now, with this shot, I don't want to choke up on the club. I want to get out a little longer because I'm up higher above. And when I make this swing, I want to keep my head nice and steady and keep my weight on my heels. I don't want to go forward. Another good little tip on this shot is address the ball out towards the toe more, because there is a tendency to maybe go forward a little bit and catch it in the heel, and you know what that is, S-H-A-N-K. Here we go. Left, weight on heels, shoulders forward, rehearse, aim a little over there, and swing. I want to show you a couple of pictures on just how to play banks like this. Now I've got a fairly short shot, but a steep bank, and the ball is well above my feet. If I set up to the ball, you can just see the angle of the face where it's really going way left. So on this shot, I've got to adjust more to the right to play for the curve of the ball and the slope. Now another picture would be to think about a board being on the slope, and I'm going to take a tennis ball and throw it in as my club would come into that slope, and watch the direction it goes. Now it's spun real hard to the left, so that's why I need to adjust for that slope to play that little draw to the pin. Now also, when the ball's above my feet, I need to get up on my toes, establish my base. I need to get my shoulders back and of course choke down on the club, aim a little to the right, and I don't want to open the face a lot. I want to keep it fairly square. And with this shot, I don't want any flipping at all. I want to just go with a nice one lever stroke right along the slope. Aiming right, on my toes, establishing the foundation. My back is up nice and straight. I'm going to rehearse, and then I'm simply going to play the shot and roll it right down to the hole. Let me walk you through a combination of slopes and angles. Here I'm standing below the ball, so I've got to establish my weight first into the slope, but also it's going this way, downhill. So I want to feel like that I'm going to set the club face flat on the ground. So I've got the board here, and this is what you need to imagine when you work in these shots. Now I've got to set my shoulders down a little bit so that I can swing along the slope. But because the ball's above my feet also, I've got to aim a little bit more to the right. There we go. Because as I swing, the ball's going to have a tendency to work from right to left. So I'm going to aim right, I'm going to choke down on the club, I'm going to lean into the slope and lower my shoulders so it's the angle of the slope. And then I'm going to rehearse. It's so important to rehearse the feeling and feel the distance you need to move it. And now here's the shot. Just onto the green, along the slope, and let it just trickle right on down to the hole. Now if you work on these principles, if you divide the body in half, the lower body resists gravity, upper body sets to the slope, the face works the ball onto the green and down to the hole, you're going to be a lot better player off of these slopes. When you get down in this grass and you're about 3 inches deep with this thick rough, as the face comes into the ball, if you have a square face, it'll have a tendency to catch into the hosel and it'll square the face and deaden the shot. You won't be able to get it out. So when you get in this thick grass, you've got to open the face up. And you've got to have a descending blow onto the ball, in behind it. So I like to set my weight to the left and really lean over to the left and get the ball back a little bit and open the face. Now that means I've got to open my shoulders up, and I want to have this swing going up and coming back in behind the ball, and I've got to gauge how far to go in behind so the club always goes down behind the ball. Now one thing that I've always used when I've played on the tour is I want to try to get this flange to bounce onto the ground down under the grass. I don't want to try to scoop it up in the air because I'll get too much grass and I'll lose that energy that's going to push it up onto the green. Now watch. Open the face. Set your hands, adjust the stance, now lean to the left. Remember when we lean to the left, that allows the club to naturally swing up more than normal and down. Aim about 1 inch behind, and when you make this shot, feel the club head go down and the flange spank the ground behind the ball. Don't swing through it. Here we go. Up and down. And it lands softly on the green and runs right up by the hole. Let the club do the work. You noticed I didn't swing real hard at that. If you get your body set up like I've shown you and you spank the ground with the flange under the ball, the energy going down will pop the ball up. Now I've really got one deep. This rough's about 6 inches deep. And you can't swing through this grass, it'll never come out. So I've got to set my body up so that that club can enter in as close as possible to the back of the ball without striking the ball first. I've got to go right down behind the ball, and always I want to get the bottom of the club to go down to the ground as I swing through this shot. So I'm going to open the face because if I don't, the grass is going to catch the hosel and flip the face closed. Open the face, set the hands. I'm going to really lean to the left now. That'll allow the club to swing up and come down right in behind the ball. Also, I'm choking down because you can see I'm on a down slope here. I'm leaning backwards, so I'm going to set my weight into the slope, choking down, feel it. Rehearse is so important on these shots. See, I don't want to manipulate the club. I'm setting myself up to play the shot. Here we go. Pops right up on the green. Now here's one where you really don't have much choice. You can't run it up. You've got sand behind, you've got sand in front, and the only shot you've got is to hit the long lob shot. You've got a good lie, so you want to really work on feeling that distance. Now we're going to get our height on the shot by opening the face a little bit. We're going to get our distance by swinging our arms, and there again with this shot, you don't want a lot of body movement going back. You want to open your stance up so the club can swing back and through straight. And with this shot, there will be a little bit of a body movement forward, just with the knees, just kind of letting the club glide through to bring the ball up in the air and drop it onto the green. Rehearsing is very important with this shot, to feel, to see it and feel it, and then trust your swing to get it up there. Don't try to scoop it and accelerate with your hands on this one. We're going to open the face and open our body up. Keep our shoulders fairly square. The weight's left. Pace. The ball's played just under the logo of the shirt. Feel it. See it. Trust it. Just back and through. And the ball will land right up on the fringe and trickle right to the hole. Work with these shots. Work on the short lobs, on the long lobs. Open the face up. Take your grip. See how much arm speed you need to project the ball up in the air and what kind of bounce you get after it hits. These are shots that you need to practice and work with over and over again so that when you get them on the golf course, you don't have to guess what to do. You're going to know it and you can trust it. How many times do you find yourself with this kind of shot? You've got to go over the trap, you don't have much green to go with, so you really need a soft shot that's going to go up there and just flop right down on the green. So what you need to do with this is use the loft of the club to get the ball up. So you open the face up, open your stance up, and always rehearse. Feel the club swinging back and the pacing of your arms. Now it's okay when it swings back to let the wrist cock a little bit, but you don't want to think about that. Just let it happen naturally as your arms swing back. With this shot, we're thinking about that grandfather clock. We're thinking about the pacing like a bell swinging back and forth. And feel the distance. Set up to the ball. Open the face and open your stance. Feel it. Rehearse. We don't want a lot of body movement in this, so we're going to lean a little left. Pace the arms. And remember on this shot, it's better to have the ball past the pin than drop it in the trap. Be sure that you make those arms swing firm enough to loft the ball and carry it up on the green.